Hello folks, I'm back with another painted project done. This is the box set called Land of the Giants. I don't know why I'm reading that, it's easy to remember. Land of the Giants. I have added in a couple of miniatures here. I've got a giant from the Super Stretch Goals and a couple of Warhammer figures and the cart from the Super Stretch Goals from the Dungeons and Lasers Encounters campaign that I believe was on GameFound, if I remember correctly. So with the Encounters campaign, there were 3 things you could pick, basically 3 areas, and then kind of a monster pack. So I did the Elven Woods. That's what I worked on last week, and this week I kind of worked on this too. Like I assembled this around the same time I assembled the Elven Woods, but the trees and everything took a long time to put together, a lot longer than this. There was a lot of modeling to do on this. Again, the molds and the plastics are really good, but you are going to have to take some molding putty and kind of fill in some gaps here and there. But it came out really good in the end. And if you have even a little bit of modeling skill, or if you're cutting your teeth on that, I can't think of a better set to dig into. It's really worth it to put in a little bit of extra work with this, because when they're done, they look great. And if you don't think about it too much, you can paint these up just fine. I traditionally don't spend a lot of time with terrain, just because there's usually a lot of it to do. It's like the least exciting thing to do. Sometimes I'll get a piece of terrain that's really exciting and stuff to me, but for the most part, it's sort of looked over with the eye. So I try to just make it seem, either make it not stand out as really bad in some way, but really kind of help seal the theme and the vibe that I'm going for a particular location. I picked the Dungeons and Lasers Encounters campaigns because I wanted to add some exotic locales that are a little bit more on the fantasy side. I've got a lot of cities and buildings, but I don't have a lot of this kind of fantasy and ruins and trees and stuff like that. So it seems like everything has about 1 duplicate in here, but given the nature of this, it seems like that's okay. That's just fine, because these are a series of pillars and a bunch of them have fallen over. So it sort of makes sense that a lot of these duplicates are here, because they're just more pillars. Most of this is broken pillars, are part of the freestanding thing that's still there. That being said, you can really arrange this however you want. I guess you could even get another set and really build the entire thing all the way around. That would be very interesting. I really like this set, but I don't feel like I need more than one of these. Like I feel like this is plenty of ruins. It's just enough to kind of really set up a really interesting scene. I've got kind of points of interest. I've got debris and stuff for cover, and something that's really fitting with the scale and stuff, particularly when you set the giant up on here. Putting this together was pretty easy. I basically built all of this in a day or so, and then maybe I let it all sit, and then I started putting on putty the next day, and then I pretty much primed it soon after that, and I painted it all in one go too. So I built it in one session and then painted it in another session. So very, very quick project to turn around. There were a couple of single things that I consider these to be sort of points of interest, and I was going to maybe mount these things up to one of the clear bases, but I decided to hold off because it almost takes up the whole base anyway. So I might just leave it off there for now. But there's at least one that looks like a kind of a toppled colossus with some arms and stuff that are down. And there's like a hand that almost looks like an altar. So those steps are too small for giants to walk on. So I'm thinking that perhaps this is maybe an altar to maybe make an offering to the giants. Although our nice looking giant doesn't look like she'd eat a person or anything. So maybe they put fruit in there or something nice. I heard a rumor once that Rick from Rick and Morty proposed to a giant there and partied with a couple of people on his way through the Elven Woods, but that's just a rumor. The only kit I have left to build is that other box of stretch goals. Is kind of like the rest of it, and it's a whole bunch of little individual characters like mermaids and crazy stuff like that. I think this is the last box I'll be able to present holistically all as one thing. From now on, it'll be probably bits and pieces of it until I get the whole box done. But I'll update you as I go along. I was really excited the way these came out. It came out. It was sort of an experimental process that I did. The way I did, I built these and I assembled them, and then I put green stuff where I needed green stuff and kind of filled in the gaps and stuff. And then I primed it with like a sort of a dark, or I guess it's sort of a medium gray Krylon spray paint. Then after that, I went over everything with light tone. It's an Army Painter ink, and it's kind of a brown color, and it kind of gave it that dirt and grime. And then I went through and I dry brushed everything with a medium gray, and sort of brought back some of the highlights. So it just that way that brown stuff that I just added really just kind of seemed like it seeped in the cracks, like, you know, over time. Things had gotten dirty, then gotten clean from rain, and dirty and clean from rain. So you kind of get a mixture. After that, I went around with a little bit of Nolan oil and just kind of hit a couple of different areas. And then after that, I went and I did some greenery. So I basically I left the impression that these would be on a green surface. I didn't paint a lot of leaves except for maybe one or two of the bases. But I did decide to kind of put some green around the perimeter of some of the fallen columns and stuff, just because I think it kind of adds to the feeling that that's sort of sunken into the ground over time. So, and I wanted to add something to it. I kind of wanted another color for a lot of these ruins also. So I went along the bottom of it. A lot of these had vines and stuff, and so I just went through and painted them all that same sort of hunter green color, like an army green color. And anywhere it showed on a base, I just painted it the exact same color. And I didn't really worry about having it be kind of two different colors or anything like that. So I did the base army green for anything that had a vine on it. And I went through and sort of picked out vines on all the stuff with vines. And the stuff that didn't, like a lot of these columns, these didn't really have vines and stuff. And also the little gazebo or altar, whatever this is. This big thing here. With those things, I went and I also hit the bottom of them with green, and I just kind of gave it like a little bit of a green, like stain or dry brush around the corner. And it's funny because it really kind of made it interesting. Kind of says that it's in a green area or something like that, or maybe it's like a moss or something like that. And I think what you could do, if you want to be really bold too, is take a sponge and maybe a couple of different colors of green or other things, and you could probably make some good sort of mossy growth and stuff on these things, and it looks really neat. But the achievement was just to make this kind of look old and dirty and a little bit of grimy, like it's been sitting around for a long time, and it's just been rediscovered by our heroes. The only other kind of funny thing I did was in the middle of this altar. In this picture here, it's really interesting. They have it glowing, almost like it's like a portal's opened up or something there. And I kind of like the idea of that. Went for another version of that that's like a little toned down and stuff. So I painted it sort of a bright silvery color, and then I covered it with like an aquatic green contrast paint. I can't remember which one it was, but sort of a green contrast paint. And what's interesting about that is the reflectiveness of the silver. Just sort of makes it almost look like it's glowing or like it's a little different, especially if it otherwise would look rock, because everything else around it's rock. That kind of having that sort of shiny blue color makes it look a little bit magical. So that's kind of cool. This is a really great set. It's very versatile. I probably should have made this smaller. In retrospect, if I'd just not connected all of this, I could have probably, with some foam, put all of it back in the box and store it that way. Now with this being too big, it won't fit. And I still might, break off the end of this or something and just kind of spread them apart, fix that up, and so I can store it all together. But I haven't tried to put it away yet, so I'm not too frustrated at this point. It is just finished. This is a really cool set, and I look forward to sort of adding the things from my previous set to this too. and just kind of making it even more and more of an interesting location. I do think that these things pair really well together, these two terrain sets, and definitely would be worth it if you were going to get one, maybe get the other two, because it's they look great together. Like it just all of these things together really fill in the table and make it a very interesting place to visit for your adventurers. It's really cool. You could almost like take one terrain set and make it the perimeter of a different terrain set, and end up with really a lot of stuff going on all over the place. The pledge manager for the Dungeons and Lasers, the last Dungeons and Lasers campaign is opening pretty soon. And so I put these together because I was trying to figure out what I wanted. And I think what I want is probably more trees. There is a tree set that's just the trees that I showed last week, along with a glowing tree, a super magic tree that would be actually a really great kind of focal point inside of here. They're going to see the glowing tree. So that other box set comes with the same trees, these 3 trees, and then these other 3 trees, the little evergreen looking ones, and these yellow ones that I painted. And it also comes with this blue tree, and then I think 2 more, like kind of more dead looking trees. So that would be, I think, one more set of trees, and I think I'd have everything I need. What I'll probably work on next is the last Dungeons and Lasers box. I've got that kind of all assembled and ready to go. I just need to pick out a couple of things and paint them. And the other thing I'm going to do is start getting ready for my Pulp Alley with Dungeons and Lasers stuff and other stuff campaign that I'm going to do with Owen from Organic Cardboard, the guy that comes over here and plays all the time. I've agreed to rope him in for a Pulp Alley game, and we're going to attempt to play through. It'll probably be up on a Monday, not anytime soon, maybe in the next couple of weeks, but look for that. Going to use all this new terrain and stuff that I made and show you what you can do with it with Pulp Alley. So if you'd like to see more videos about stuff I painted and how much I liked it, there's a playlist right here. And over here's something that an algorithm thinks you'll like. I don't know. Let me know how it did. And over here's a subscription. Please subscribe. I'd love to see you again. Until next time, enjoy your games, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.